So today we're going to have a detailed study of stress, stress placement in single words, in simple words, in complex words, and in what we call, grammatical patterns, stress grammatical patterns, which affects reading comprehension, listening comprehension, and speaking. So stress plays a vital role in communication. Why? Because it is phonemic. It is phonemic. It can contrast meaning in single words, in complex words, and in grammatical patterns. So we'll tackle 4 major grammatical patterns, stress patterns. Before we do that, let me just ask a question. What factors affect stress placement in complex words? What factors affect stress placement in complex words? That's when we have a word, a base, plus an affix. A base plus an affix. So, of course, when a certain affix, whether it's a prefix, an infix, or a suffix, is added to the base, it makes it morphologically, from the morphological point of view, the structure of the word becomes more complex, and so does its semantic function or its meaning. You see what I mean? Let me just paraphrase this. Say it in other words. Silent. Okay. Now we have every word must have a base. Every word must have a base. The base is there without any additions, without any affixes. Affixes are added to the base. So for instance, we have the word rich. This is a base. A base carries the principal meaning of the word. The base carries the principal meaning of the word. So when we have rich, that's an adjective. Rich cannot be analyzed into any smaller meaningful morphemes. You know what a morpheme is? A morpheme is the smallest meaningful unit in a language. It's the smallest meaningful unit. Now, bases cannot be analyzed into any smaller meaningful units. So for instance, if we have the word man has a morpheme, just one morpheme. So it can't be analyzed into any more meaningful units, any more morphemes. Now, affixes, we have prefixes. Now the word prefix means to fix before. Pre means before. So prefix means to fix before. Before what? Before the base.
For the base.
Yeah, before the base. An infix is fixed in the middle of a word. And the suffix is fixed at the end. Now, all affixes in any language, all affixes are morphemes. In other words, all affixes are meaningful units. So we have to the word rich, for instance, if we add the prefix en before the base, what do we get?
Enrich.
We get enrich. What does en mean? En mean?
To add, doctor.
No, I mean when we have rich. Okay, rich is a base. Enrich makes it a verb. Yeah, it makes it a verb. What does en mean?
To make.
It means to make. That's it. It means to make. So it could be used before the base. It could be fixed before the base, and the same element, the same affix, may be used as a suffix. So we have the word soft. By adding en, the suffix en to the word soft, again, what do we get?
Not?
No, I mean soft plus en. How do you pronounce it?
Oh.
Soften. Insoft. Insoft.
No.
Soften.
At the end as a suffix.
Soften.
Soften. Yeah. Soft has a T as a phoneme, but soften has a silent T. So it says soften. Now soften is to make soft. Wide is an adjective. Widen is to make wide. Large is an adjective. Enlarge, by adding en, enlarge, it becomes a verb with the meaning to make large. To make large. Okay? Now, the word enrich means to make rich. To make rich. Empower, by the way, the en, phonologically speaking. This is why we need to study the structure and function of sounds, of the sound system, and how sounds undergo certain changes. So for instance, we have in the word rich, we add en to make it enrich. To the word power, we add en, the prefix en, but we don't pronounce it in power. What do we say instead?
Empower.
Empower. Now, how would one explain the sound change here? Of course, I mean, it has the same meaning. En, enrich, and empower, both have the same meaning. They have the same meaning, which means to make powerful. It means to make powerful.
Power.
Empower. So why does it become empower?
May I, doctor?
Yes, Ahmed.
It's I guess assimilation, doctor, because the words start with p sound.
Yeah, that's very good. Yeah, that's very good because the na sound is alveolar. The p of power is bilabial, so it's easier to have the same place of articulation. So by changing the n sound to m, we get two bilabials instead of an alveolar followed by a bilabial. Now this occurs, it occurs in many specialists perhaps are sometimes unaware of this sort of assimilation. I mean, it occurs in words like compile. Now it's originally, you know what compile means?
No.
Compile a dictionary. To compile a dictionary, we
Yes, it's a
make the base is pile. Compile is originally compile, but it goes to m because of the pa sound. So we say compile. We say communicate. It's originally communicate. So it goes to communicate. We have to commemorate. Commemorate goes to commemorate. So we have double M. The N goes to M sound, which is bilabial, because of the following sound. So we should try to analyze the variants of the same affix. So some affixes have more than one pronunciation and more than one spelling. en may be spelled with en or en. con may be con or com. Right? So since affixes are meaningful units, they are morphemes. By adding such elements to the base, before it, at the end of it, or in the middle, what happens is that the word becomes morphologically more complex. More complex because it has more elements. It has a base plus an affix, or a base plus affixes. More than an affix, by the way. A word may have up to 3 suffixes, for instance. So in the word fertilizers, we have fertile, fertilize, eyes, or ICE, fertilizer, ER, and S. We add an S. So fertilizers has a base plus 3 suffixes. This happens, it's common, I mean, in English morphology. So we say that complex words are morphologically and semantically more complex. So they have more structure, morphological structure, and more meaning, because by adding affixes, of course, we add new meanings to the base. What is the Arabic equivalent of affixes? 1 extra mark.
الزوائد.
Straight away you'll have 1 extra mark.
إضافات أو لواصق.
Again.
إضافات أو لواصق.
إضافات أو لواصق. There is a technical term in Arabic. All of you know it very well, I'm sure. Yeah, 1 extra mark.
المزيد دكتور.
أمجد.
المترادفات دكتور.
Again.
المترادفات.
No, المترادفات would be synonyms.
السوابق ولا واحد؟
مترادفات. We have a dictionaries of synonyms and antonyms. المترادفات والأضداد. الأضداد سهل عليكم هذه الكلمة ولا صعبة؟
سهل.
دكتور
الأضداد.
أحرف
How do you
نأتي.
spell it? أسامة can you spell it?
الضاد.
الأضداد.
الأضداد.
Yeah. Can you spell it?
A L همزة ألف ضاد ألف دال.
Again.
ألف لام ألف عليها همزة
Yeah.
بعدين ضاد بعدين ألف بعدين دال.
This is a spelling pronunciation. This shows how spelling may affect pronunciation, and of course, vice versa. Vice versa. I mean, spelling, in the majority of cases, by the way, mispronunciation of certain words is the result of spelling. The negative influence of spelling on pronunciation, and vice versa. Sometimes we say something and we spell it differently because of the influence of pronunciation. Fatima?
ألف لام ألف ضاد دا ألف دال.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Right. Good. Al-Addad. There is Al-Addad, yes. There is assimilation here. We have the Dad and the Dal. Yeah. So what's the equivalent of affixes?
أحرف نأتي.
الاشتقاق دكتور.
نأتي أحرف نأتي.
Again.
أحرف نأتي نون ألف أحرف نأتي كلمة نأتي.
Who's that? Is that? Who is that? Is that Usama?
Yes, doctor.
Yeah, Usama.
Yes, أحرف نأتي نون ألف وتاء yes تبعت المضارع.
Right, okay.
Yes. لما نضيفها على الكلمة بنحولها بتصير مضارع.
Right, okay. What do you call these in Arabic?
مشتقات.
البادئات دكتور.
راح صوتها دكتور.
حروف الزيادة.
Yes.
حروف الزيادة are affixes. Now حروف الزيادة may be added at the beginning of a word. يأتي, سيأتي. Sin is a prefix. It's a morpheme. What does it mean?
Sin?
What does the sin mean?
Well, he will come.
Yeah, it means future. Yeah, it means future. It expresses future. What does the alif in صارع?
ألف دكتور.
Past.
Yeah, what does the alif in the middle mean?
الماضي دكتور.
Sorry?
Past, ماضي.
أحمد, I didn't catch you.
دكتور هي صرعة أصلا بس هي الألف بتدل على الماضي دكتور. الفعل صار في الماضي.
بتدل على الماضي؟
صارعة.
طب ما هي صارعة ماضي.
هي صرعة أصلا فالحرف هذا.
طيب what does now the alif here is an infix. It's an infix. So what does it mean? All affixes are meaningful units. So what is the meaning of the alif in صارعة or كاتب راسل? مشاركة. Yeah, that's it. It expresses reciprocity. 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 That's reciprocity. تدل على المشاركة. Okay. Now, all affixes. Now we have complex words. Complex words are usually derived. If we have a base plus an affix, then that's a derived form. يعني مشتق. So when we say organ is a base. Organize is a derivative. Evolve is a verb. What's the noun of evolve?
Evolution.
Evolution, yeah. So it goes by adding tion. Of course, we say evolution, yeah. We drop the ve. Evolution. That's a noun. That makes it a noun. So that's another derivative. Now, what factors affect stress placement in complex words?
May you repeat it, Doctor?
I mean, as we add affixes,
What factor? What?
or let's say in this case suffixes.
Morphological changes, Doctor?
Yeah, of course. I mean, they sometimes they undergo morphological changes and phonological changes. Sometimes they go undergo phonological changes. So there are three types of effects as far as stress placement is concerned. We have three types of suffixes. Suffixes that carry the primary stress themselves. There is a list of affixes, suffixes in this case. When they are added to the base, they carry the stress themselves. See what I mean? Let's have an example. I mean, last time I gave a few examples. The suffix ain, ascertain. The word entertain, ascertain. So here, the suffix ain carries the primary stress. It's said louder. It's said louder than the base. Ascertain. Doubly. Evacuee. Refugee. Okay. EER. Mountaineer. ESE. Portuguese. We say Chinese, not Chinese. Chinese. So the suffix takes the stress. Words like, sometimes we often hear people say etiquette. It's etiquette. Now that's another suffix. ETTE. This affects stress in that it carries the stress itself. So this is one type. The second type is suffixes that influence stress in the stem. They influence the stress in the stem, in the base plus suffix. Yeah? They influence the stress in the stem. How? What do they do? Now, when we add IC, I've noticed that the majority of English major students, even some MA and PhD students, make grave errors here. So when we add IC to words like climate, now where does stress fall in climate?
On the A.
First or second syllable?
In the first syllable.
First or second?
Second.
First. Climate.
Climate. Climate.
The first.
Climate.
The
First or
first.
second?
First.
First.
First. Okay. Now let's see what happens as we add IC. Now
Comes
most,
in the second.
I've heard many teachers, I mean school teachers, say climatic. It's climatic. Now what happens here is that because of the influence of the suffix IC, stress is shifted from the first syllable to the second syllable in the stem. So we say climatic, climatic, stress on climatic.
طب دكتور
Drama, we say drama, yes? But when we add TIC, what do we get?
Dramatic.
Dramatic. Dramatic. So it's not dramatic. If you want to reduce having a foreign accent, then we have to apply the rules of using segmental phonemes and supra-segmental phonemes. Now, what does subject mean? Subject.
موضوع
موجود.
فاعل.
Okay. What part of speech is that?
Noun.
Noun. Okay. What happens if we shift stress to the second syllable?
Becomes a verb.
Becomes a verb
Yes, doctor.
with a totally different meaning.
Yes, doctor.
With a totally different meaning.
فأنا تعريض.
Subject. He was subjected to torture, interrogation, etc. So that's why I keep saying that stress plays a vital role in communication. Okay, let's have IAL. We have the word commerce.
Commercial.
It goes to commercial
Yes.
as we add IAL. Proverb. Proverbial.
Proverbial.
Yeah, proverbial. So stress is shifted from the first to the second. Okay. Another one is courage. Courage.
courageous
Yes.
Yeah, mostly
Correct.
I've heard many people, I mean, mispronounce it as courageous.
Courageous.
It's courageous. Advantage.
Advantageous.
Advantageous.
Advantageous. Yes.
Yeah, advantage, 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 advantageous as we add OUS. Now, I don't know why Peter Roach considers graphy as a suffix. He considers, yeah, he considers graphy as a suffix. Very strange, yes? That's chapter 10, the nature of stress. Then the word. Here we are. Okay, 11. Okay. Number 3. Okay. Yeah. If you have the book, it's on page 82. Page 82. Have you all got a copy of this?
yes
Yes.
Yeah, good. Right. On page 82,
yes notes on a problem
the first paragraph.
Strong and weak form, Doctor.
Yeah, the first
Yes.
paragraph, he lists suffixes like E, O, U, S, graphy, IAL, IC, etc. Do you think that graphy is a suffix?
It's a word.
By the way, I mean, this is used also in Oxford Dictionary. I mean, Oxford Dictionary lists graph and graphy as a suffix.
Doctor, it's a word. It means writing, right?
Yeah, of course. This is not one suffix, by the way. It's not, graphy is not one suffix. It has two suffixes.
Yes.
Not two suffixes, I mean, it has two morphemes because you have graph and Y. Y makes it a noun. Now, graph may be used as a base. It may be used as a base in graphic design, graphic. So we have graph, which is the base, plus IC. So it's not really a suffix. It's a base. Many people, by the way, make this sort of, I wouldn't call it a mistake here. It's really an error, a morphemic analysis error. How would you analyze words like, say, biology?
Doctor, bio and logic.
I don't know. There's something wrong with net connection. Yeah.
Yes.
I gave a lecture. I delivered a lecture in the morning, 1.5 hours. There was no problem at home. I mean.
Doctor, in all Jordan, the internet connection is bad. Last 2 days.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah.
Yes.
This is rare, by the way. We don't have it often.
Because of political issues.
Sorry.
Because of political issues.
Well, let's hope for the best.
Yes.
Yeah. Right. So how would you analyze words like biologists? Biologists.
It's a noun, Doctor.
Yeah, it is a noun. Yeah.
Bio
Biologist is a noun. Yeah. Can you analyze it? Where is the base?
Bio.
Bio is a base. How about logic?
It's a science, Doctor.
Is it a base? Is it a
Yes,
base or a
yes.
suffix? Is that a base or a suffix?
Doctor, can it go with both?
Sorry?
Can it be suffix and base at once?
Suffix and base. Which one is suffix?
Affixes, I mean. I can't go with both as affixes and base at once.
Now, in a word, must have a base.
Mm-hmm.
We can't have
دكتور
words
biology
consisting
كاملة it is
of a
a base.
prefix and a suffix.
I think.
Because
Doctor,
prefix is fixed before the base and suffix at the end of a base.
So we can't label
How would you
base
label
like
bio and logic?
دكتور لوجي
دكتور
لوجي is the suffix.
الأو اللي هي بيس من البايو واللوجي اللي هي السفكس.
Biology it is the base.
Logi may be used as a base because we have logic.
Yes.
Doctor, both are stems, doctors.
No, Doctor, may
Both
I say?
are, yes, say it again, Ahmed.
Both are stem, Doctor. It's combined word.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are both bases.
Yes.
It's a compound. يعني كلمة مركبة. It's like you say blackboard.
Both are Greek.
Greenhouse. Hot dog. So same applies to graphic or graphy. Now we can have photography, photograph. That's the photo and graph. Graphy is photography. The Y here makes it a noun. Yeah. So I think we should take it out, cross it out. If you want to read more about this, I can give you some references, how to distinguish bases from affixes.
Yes, please, Doctor.
I know Ahmed Shafiq Al-Khatib, the compiler of معجم المصطلحات الفنية والعلمية والهندسية. I mean, he gave a list of 600 so-called affixes without realizing the difference between a base and a suffix or an affix. Same applies to Oxford. I mean, look it up in Oxford Dictionary. Under affixes, you'll find graph listed as a suffix. Yeah. Anyway, here we have suffixes that influence stress in the stem. The influence, yeah. So we have the suffixes E-O-U-S. Advantageous, advantage, advantageous. Courage, courageous. I-A-L, commerce, commercial. Proverb, proverbial. Climate, climatic, climatic. Catastrophe, we say the situation is catastrophic, catastrophic. So it's not catastrophic, catastrophic.
Problem. Problematic.
Yazan.
Problem.
Again.
Problem. Problematic.
Can you raise your voice, please? Speak up. There's something wrong with the note. Yeah.
Problem.
What's the word?
Problematic.
Okay. I-O-N. Where does stress fall in the word perfect?
The first
syllable. Add I-O-N to it. What do we get?
Perfection.
Perfection. So it's not perfection, it's perfection. So stress is shifted from the first syllable to the second. Okay. I-O-U-S. I-O-U-S. We have Inja, I-N-J-U-R. So we're back, yes. It takes about 6 minutes, to convert the recording. Right. So we have the suffix I or N is one of the suffixes that affect stress placement in the stem, in that stress is shifted from the first syllable to the second. So I-O-N, perfect, has stress on the first syllable. By adding I-O-N, we get perfection, perfection, not perfection. Inja, injure. Injure could be a verb or a noun, injuries. If we add OUS or IOUS, what do we get?
شا
No, I mean
إيش هي دكتور الكلمة؟
INJUR. By adding IOUS, what do we get? Or injury, injury. INJURY. The Y goes to I. To make an adjective, we add OUS to the word to the I.
Injurious.
Again.
Injurious.
Injurious.
That's it.
Oh.
Injurious. Injurious. But the first has injure. Stress on the first syllable. By adding OUS, it's shifted to the second syllable. ITY, fertile, fertile, FERTILE. In British, it's fertile. In American, fertile. By adding ITY, what do we get?
Fertility.
Fertility.
We get fertility, yeah. We get fertility. Divine.
Divinity.
Divinity. Okay. Fragile. Plus ITY.
Fragility.
Fragility. Okay. Then we have IVE. IVE. Effect, for instance.
Effective.
Add IVE. Yeah, what do we get?
Effective.
Yes.
Effective.
Effective. Effect. Effect. Effective. Reflexive. 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 Second syllable. So this is the second type. The first type influences the pronunciation of the word in that it takes the stress. I mean, they take the stress themselves. The list of suffixes I gave. This second type affects stress in the stem, in that stress is shifted from one syllable to another. There is a third type which has no influence whatsoever. So once we learn 1 and 3, there is no need. Any other type of affixes has no effect. So suffixes that don't affect stress placement, able, comfortable, age, marriage, al, arrival, en, widen, full, wonderful, careful, ing, amaze, amazing, ish, child, childish, less, wireless. Although some students, I've heard many people in Amman mispronounce it as wireless. Wireless, they say. It's wireless. So stress falls on the stem. There is no influence. ly, careful, carefully, meant, punish, punishment, ness, sad, sadness, ous, poisonous, fy, glorify, glory, glorify, wise, otherwise, why, funny. So it's, it's good to learn by heart the list of suffixes that take that carry the primary stress themselves, and the list of suffixes that influence stress placement in the stem, in that it shifted to another syllable. I don't know about able again. Comfortable. Comfortable. That's again able is listed as a suffix. Is it a suffix? Is that a suffix, you think?
Able.
What's that?
Yeah. Able, as in comfortable.
Yes.
Is that a suffix?
No, able. He can do
It's
it.
a
No.
word.
It's a base. There is
Yes,
unanimous
yes.
agreement, by the way. If you check any book on linguistics or dictionaries, check the list of affixes, you'll find able, listed as a suffix.
Suffix. Yeah.
I mean, we can say the disabled.
Ability.
This is the
A base.
prefix, Doctor.
Yeah, it's enable somebody to do something. En, able. Able is a base.
Ability.
To have
Even
ability,
the word ability. Ability, I mean, we add ity to the word able. So again, this is another morphological error, by the way, here. It's a morphological error.
يعني دكتور هي مش suffix.
طبعا لا. طبعا لا. أنا عارف إن كل الكتب يعني كل كتب المورفولوجي والlinguistics I mean they consider able as a suffix while it's a base.
صحيح.
The reason it is that a prefix, a suffix does not or cannot be used on its own. So we can't have en used alone. But we can have able as a free morpheme. It's a free morpheme. Affixes are bound morphemes. Affixes are all bound morphemes. يعني متصلة. Able is منفصلة, free morpheme. It can on its own.
درسناهم.
So we have enable.
دكتور.
Enable. Here, it's a word with a prefix and a base. The base is able, so it's not a suffix then. And the word ability, we add the suffix ity to the word able. Enable, the disabled, able, d or ed. Yeah, sure, and I'm just trying to ignite your imagination. I'm sure, most of you can come up with some new ideas,
Doctor, can I say something?
Sorry?
Can I say something?
Yes, yeah.
I think 2 years ago, a doctor told us that, for instance, able can go as a stem and can go as a affix. You feel me?
But it's a base. It's a base. A base cannot be considered as a suffix.
Yes, I think in the exam, he gave us this question and we solved it like I told you,
Yeah.
So
the base carries the principal part of the word. Now, in words like ability, for instance, able is the base. And then you have the plus the suffix ity. Enable, here we have a prefix en plus able.
Doctor, then we consider words like comfortable as a compound word.
Of course, in this case, comfortable would be a compound. It's exactly like you say, blackboard, hot dog, greenhouse, blue book.
Spaces.
All it is. It's a compound, no doubt. There's no doubt about it. It's like you say biology. أنا المشكلة إنه كبار علماء في in the Arab world, the Arabicization Bureau التابع للأرب ليج الجامعة العربية عملوا مؤتمر دولي عشان مشكلة الأفكسز ومحور المؤتمر كان غلط. The methodology had no scientific grounds and they considered all Greco-Latin roots basis bio, geo, logi, thermo هذا كله اعتبروها affixes. غريب. And in the word thermometer they would consider thermo as a prefix and meter as a suffix. يعني التحليل غريب انه احنا بنعرف انه affixes are added to bases. ما في كلمة there's no way we can have a word consisting of a prefix simply of a prefix plus a suffix, because the very word prefix has two morphemes. It has pre, which means before, and fix, which is the base. So prefix is to fix before. Before what? Before the base. Infix is to fix in the middle of words, of the base. غريب انه في عندنا اذا بتقرأ كتاب تمام حسان, دكتور تمام حسان, although I speak I think highly of him, but he committed the same error. He said that Arabic is extremely poor in the area of affixes. You see what I mean?
Yes.
They misclassified neoclassical compounds. We call these, I mean, when we have words like biology, these are neoclassical compounds. They are treated just as blackboard, as blue book. I mean, these are compounds. Dogfight is a compound. It's one word. It consists of two bases. So they considered all these as prefix. They analyzed compounds as prefix, suffix. وإحنا بندرس في Introduction to Linguistics the difference between a base and a suffix. We teach that a word must have a base. So in this case, able, I mean, I would consider able as I mean, words like comfortable would be treated as compounds. I have 3 or 4 others, by the way, other so-called, I mean, suffixes, which are actually roots, bases.
Doctor, for example, if you want to say likable or lovable,
yeah.
Now here, does able come as a base stem, or?
Yeah, it's likable would be like a base, and able. Why is it a base? Because it can stand on itself by itself. Since any word that can stand by itself is a base. Movable, for instance. Movable means able to move. Movable or mobile, even the word mobile. Movable means able to move. Yeah.
Yes.
So,
Okay.
so I mean, we have it in some Latin and Greek words. Visible, for instance, can be seen. Visible can be seen. Invisible cannot be seen. Yeah. And hence the word visibility. Yeah.
صوتك راح دكتور. Your voice.
Then we add ity. Yeah. I think what I'm trying to do is develop your critical thinking. I mean, we need to adopt this approach if we want to, you know, come up with something new. Right. Now the next point is grammatical stress patterns. Let's share screen. Okay. Never mind about this. I thought I would write it down. You are familiar with my handwriting, yes?
Yes.
So we have first, we have grammatical stress patterns. This is how stress affects communication. I've chosen 4 basic patterns. One is a compound noun. Now, a compound, as you know, consists of 2 or 3 elements joined together. They form a single word, which is, morphologically speaking, known as a compound noun. Yeah? A compound noun is usually accompanied by the stress pattern, this stress pattern, where this is the primary stress. In other words, the stress, the primary stress, falls on the second element. Or if it's 3, it falls on the third. Father-in-law, yeah, falls on the last. A compound may be written as one word, as in blackboard. So it's not blackboard, blackboard. That's a compound. It receives stress on the first, it receives stress on the first element, by the way. Sorry, did I say second? This is this is the primary stress. This is secondary. This is secondary. Here we have primary stress. The primary stress falls on the first element. So it could be written as one word. It may be written as 2 words. So when we say high school, does that mean that it's a school that's high? Describing the building. What do you mean by high school?
It's the second school.
الثانوية العامة.
ثانوية العامة. That's it. Yeah, that's very good. Yeah, this is how stress affects even translation. Yeah. Then we have father-in-law. Father-in-law, where stress, again, the primary stress falls on the first element. What's the meaning of father-in-law?
أب التبني.
Again.
الحما.
Yes. Okay. How about daughter-in-law?
ربيبة.
زوجة الابن.
Okay, fine. Sister-in-law.
أخت بس مش شقيقة.
أخت الزوج.
Yeah, okay.
لا.
Right, okay, yes. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. So the in-laws, they call them the in-laws. Father-in-law, mother-in-law, son-in-law, daughter-in-law, sister, brother-in-law, etc. They call them
دكتور
in-laws.
بفاذر اللو الستريس على كلمة فاذر.
Pardon?
الستريس على فاذر اللو
Yeah,
على
I
فاذر.
mean, all compounds receive stress on the first element. The second pattern is different. I mean, we'll proceed to the second. So this is the first grammatical stress pattern. It's a compound. Compounds receive stress on the first element. That's why the second element is reduced sometimes. So when we have the word post, and man, when we add man to the word post, we don't get postman or businessman, policeman. What do we say instead?
Postman.
Policeman.
We say policeman, postman.
Postman.
He's a businessman with a schwa. So instead of having man as a strong form, it goes to a schwa because of the effect, because of the influence of stress on the first element, because it's a compound. I mean, all these words are compounds. Hot dog, dog fight. Dog fight has nothing to do with dogs, by the way. Dog
Yes.
fight, fierce fight. Yeah. So place stress then on the first element if the structure is a compound. Okay, that's number one. Right. Let's have a second. No. Okay. Now, pattern 2 is where we have pattern 2 is a modifier plus noun. It's a modifier plus noun. I don't want to keep you. I mean, if you have a lecture after this, I'll be done in 5 minutes. In 1 minute, just 1 minute, okay? The modifier plus noun, that's the adjective plus noun. It's the noun which receives the primary stress. So the only difference between a compound and an adjective plus noun is that in the second, it's the second element, the noun, which receives stress, while in compounds, stress falls on the first element. So we don't say sick nurse, we say sick nurse. We say greenhouse, and we say W. You know what W means? W means? That
Double
means
the letter
you. But if we say W, that would be a compound. It would be in the 23rd letter of the alphabet. Yeah. Next time we'll discuss the other two stress patterns: verb plus noun and verb adverbial. Then we'll have an exercise.
إن شاء الله دكتور.
Right. Okay. Do you have any questions?
يعطيك ألف عافية.
Allah Hafiz. Fine. Just try to come up with something new in phonology. Think it over. Never take anything for granted. Everybody has the right to have self-judgment, provided that that he or she has enough evidence. Right. Okay. Assalamu alaikum.
وعليكم السلام.
Thank you, Doctor.
Right. Pleasure.